is a battleship? A battleship is a naval warship built primarily in the 19th and 20th century. They usually include extensive armor and projectiles. The first battleships were steam frigates or armored frigates. They contained a combination of sails, steam propulsion. These are smaller battleships. In 1869, the HMS Monarch, the first naval ship classified in today's definition of a battleship, was built.
There are 7 main types of battleships. Number 1. Heavy and light cruisers. The difference between heavy and light cruisers is the gun size. Basically, the principal differentiating factor is that heavy cruisers contain guns of roughly 8 inches or 203 millimeters in caliber, while light cruisers usually feature 6-inch or 155 millimeter guns. Number 2. Aircraft carriers. As the name suggests, these battleships contain a flight deck that serves as a launch and land port for aircrafts. These aircrafts perform a variety of functions, some of which include aerial combat, airstrikes, material transport, and search and rescue operations. Aircraft carriers provide support as a sea-going airbase, where aircraft reside while being equipped with new ammunition or before or after deployment. Number 3. Destroyers. Destroyers are quick warships that have long endurance, meaning they can take a large amount of damage and continue functioning. These warships usually escort other vessels, such as cruisers and a fleet. Destroyers help defend said vessels from powerful short-range enemy ships. Number 4. Frigates. Frigates are like destroyers in that they are both designed to be quickly maneuvered and to protect larger vessels. However, frigates are more common in navies across the world. Destroyers are also bigger and marginally faster than frigates. Number 5. Corvettes. The smallest vessel that is still considered a battleship, corvettes are fast, lightly armed vessels that were used for anti-submarine warfare during the Second World War and for coastal patrol. Number 6. Submarines. These vessels are designed to operate for prolonged periods of time beneath the ocean's surface during warfare. In simple words, they can propel themselves on the water's surface or below. Number 7. Amphibious assault ships. Employed to both land and water, these ships support ground forces, such as marines or aerial forces. However, these are different from aircraft carriers because while aircraft carriers contain aviation facilities to host strike aircraft, amphibious assault ships have the primary role of holding helicopters to support forces that are ashore.
World War I battleships. In 1914, which is when the First World War started, the British Royal Navy was the largest, most formidable navy in the world. Its operations are HMS for His or Her Majesty's ship and RN for the Royal Navy. During World War I, this navy included around 160 vessels. The Imperial German Navy was the second largest in the world, causing extensive competition in Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz, who was Secretary of State at German Imperial Navy Office. His endeavors were supported by the last German Emperor, Caesar William II. HMS Dreadnought. This battleship revolutionized naval power by adding new features to the battleship. By removing the second battery, Dreadnought battleships could equip many more guns and contain more armor. Pre-Dreadnought battleships were fueled by coal and had a lower displacement than Dreadnought ships. But Dreadnought ships were powered with oil, which allowed them to be faster even though they had higher displacement. The higher displacement of a battleship, the heavier it is. Despite being designed specifically to combat battleships, the HMS Dreadnought did not participate in any battles of the First World War. But this revolutionary ship advanced the design of future battleships, improving naval vessels after her creation. She was the only battlecruiser confirmed to have sunk a submarine. The Dreadnought class consisted of 18 battlecruisers in order to make sure the Imperial German Navy would have been able to catch up to the increasingly advanced Royal Navy.
HMS Warspite. There were many vessels of the Royal Navy dubbed HMS Warspite, but the one that was important during the First World War was the Queen Elizabeth-class Warspite. This super dreadnought was one of 5 in its class, designed with a large offensive power and speed. Super dreadnoughts often replaced wing turrets with super firing turrets in the center line.
World War II. KMS Bismarck. The Bismarck class compared two ships, Bismarck and Tirpitz, who provided to be the largest ship built in Kriegsmarine, which was Navy's Germany Navy. Bismarck participated in a singular offensive operation, operating Ringbang. Paired with heavy cruiser Prince Eugen, Bismarck would conduct this operation by raiding shipping between Allied forces from North America to Britain in the Atlantic Ocean. However, the ships were discovered and British naval forces were deployed to intercept the German ships. Initially in the Battle of Denmark Strait. HMS Hood and HMS Prince of Wales exchanged fire with the Kriegsmarine ships and resulted in the British retreat due to the sinking of Hood and the severe damage on the Prince of Wales. After the Hood was destroyed, the Royal Navy pursued Bismarck, who was on her way to occupied France for repairs after extensive damage was done to her by 3 hits from the Prince of Wales. HMS Ark Royal, an aircraft carrier, deployed 16 Swordfish biplane torpedo bombers to attack Bismarck, rendering the battleship's steering gear and incapacitated. Bismarck's final battle took place the next morning when she was engaged by 4 more warships, 2 light and 2 heavy cruisers. The ship was scuttled and deliberately sank to prevent her from being boarded by the British. This was because taking the ship would be a major asset to the British Royal Navy, and because abandoning the ship would cause fewer casualties.
IJN Yamato. Equipping the largest guns ever employed by a battleship, the IJN Yamato of the Imperial Japanese Navy was the heaviest and most powerfully armed battleship ever built. She was formally commissioned shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor during the Second World War, and was designed to rival the U.S. Navy, which was numerically superior. During her brief and permanent reign of the Pacific War battle in World War II, the IJN Yamato was, without a doubt, the most powerful warship in history. She is still considered the most powerful battleship of all time. And now, for battle, one of several participated by Yamato. Operation Ten-Go. Also known as Operation Heaven 1 and Ten Ichigo, Operation Ten-Go was the last major Japanese naval operation in the Pacific War, which was a battle of World War II. Yamato, the largest battleship in history, was called to action in a battle, an attack upon the Allied forces, along with 9 other Japanese warships, who engaged in the Battle of Okinawa as an intentional suicide mission. Aware of the fact that the fuel and air were insufficient, the IJN Yamato was sent to battle. She was struck by 19 American aerial torpedoes and was split into halves, drowning its crew population of 2,498 soldiers. The IJN Yamato-class battleships may have been the best battleships in history, but even they were not invincible or immune to attacks from the superior U.S. carrier-borne aircrafts. The U.S. Navy had prepared 6 battleships, 7 cruisers, and 21 destroyers to deal with Yamato, although they were not needed because the aircraft succeeded in their mission. Only 4 Japanese warships survived this battle, neither of which included the IJN Yamato or her sister, the IJN Musashi. Later, all of these 4 ships but one, the IJN Nagato, were obliterated during later times during the Second World War. Codenamed Operation Iceberg, the Battle of Okinawa is a pivotal event in history. It is one of the major battles of the Pacific War, and is said to be one of the bloodiest battles that took place in World War II.
The past and present, the most powerful navies. During the 17th century, the title of the world's most powerful navies switched between the navies of Holland, France, and Britain. Finally, in the 18th century, the title was bestowed upon the British Royal Navy in perpetuity, that is, until the middle of the Second World War. Britain enjoyed the title from this time until the U.S. Navy provided itself more advanced than any other in the world, and snatched the title from England.
Effect on United States history. Due to the creation of dreadnought and super dreadnought battleships by the Royal Navy, America was able to increase its naval strength and ultimately become the most powerful navy in the world. Additionally, during wars, the U.S. was largely affected during naval battles. Without naval warfares, wars and battles throughout history would have looked extremely different.